That hurt. More verticality. Recording in progress. All right. Welcome to the Straight Red Card. We are clear to swear from here on out.
Safe.
Intro. We are all safe. We are here with Pete and Filippo, who just got done with their own. So if
you pointed to the wrong side. What are you on there, Derek?
I'm Filippo.
Everything.
I'm Filippo.
Yeah.
Let's
You
see,
pointed
can I get
to
that?
Pete when you said
Pete.
Philippe. When you pointed to
Hey, tactical dog, wake up.
Yeah. So if you guys have not liked or subscribed to Tactical Manager or 11 Yanks, make sure you get the hell over there and do that. They're great guys and they're very informative. They just did a very informative hour-long show on the U20s coming up. So make sure you go check that out if you missed the live show. What's going on, guys? How you doing? You seem really busy these days. Really busy.
Trying to be. I mean, or not trying to be, but sometimes being forced. The bills must be paid. This is what I'm learning in March is that, like, I had all these great plans. I was going to go to Charlotte this weekend for their opener. But, you know, just work stuff comes up and that's life. So,
Well, that's the acting, right? How's that going?
it's actually not the acting that came up this time. So it's a more complex situation than that. But yeah,
it's a
acting is going
different
okay.
kind of acting. It's a different kind of acting.
Pretending to like what you're doing at work. That's acting.
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly. Pretending to like my boss.
Yeah, and Filippo, you are going to Charlotte. So how did that all come about? You want to give us a summary?
Me and Pete got invited there by Charlotte Media. It was their media or the club itself, and we were both going to go. Pete was going to go too, and he's not going to be able to go, obviously. But I'm just going as planned. I'll be arriving there tomorrow very early, so I'll be at Charlotte at 9 a.m. already. So
Yeah.
I got a plane to catch early in the morning, and that's it. That's pretty much it. And then I'm going to go to the game. Looking forward. 70,000 people.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen that. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'll make a vlog for everyone to watch. I'll try to make a vlog.
That's a really savvy move on their part, to be really honest, because, you know, they're already trying to tap into sort of the independent media market, which is a smart idea, I think, on their part. It's
Well,
nice to
if
see.
they were really savvy, Derek, they would have you and Brett do the halftime comedy show. Now there's the savvy move, right? Just
They're
kidding.
not trying to get canceled, dude. They want them to get canceled already. They just got into the league.
I would go just for the halftime show. Forget like Shakira, you know, Derek and Brett. There you go.
I'm going to pull my best
the Derek
impersonation of
Lee
Pluto
dance.
from Animal House and just chug a Jack Daniels bottle and throw it and smash it. Walk
Yeah,
off.
then I'll have to
Do
drag
any of
you
you
home.
dance hips don't lie? Derek, Brett? No?
I really don't dance, even though I was really into hip hop. Hip hoppers don't dance, so that's not a thing we do. And so I'm gonna have to pass. No dancing. I mean, it would be hilarious if I danced, but I look like the chick from Seinfeld, Elaine. I'd look a lot like Elaine dancing, you know.
OnlyFans, Derek. OnlyFans where you just dance. That would be. I would sign up.
That would
It was
be
the longest time
horrible.
we were talking about having an OnlyFans channel where we just play our podcast.
By the way, it is National Talk in the Third Person Day. So if you feel any need to do that, feel free to say, like, Pete believes this, you know, just start out. Or me, Filippo, I believe the following. But you don't have to.
I was not aware that was
sound
a
there. Me, Filippo, happy. Yeah. What's
Why
that
do I
about?
sound Russian now? I sound Russian?
Oh. So
Are we moving now? No.
the whole thing we were going to cover today, and the reason we're going to do it, is because of the stark difference between a Jesse Marsch press media interview and a Greg Berhalter one. Those are very different types of interviews, and people were coming out in England and over all the English press saying how impressed they were with that first interview by Jesse Marsch. So we're going to play some of it, show some of the highlights of it, and then, you know, kind of talk about the contents of what he said, but also talk about the the difference, the authenticity in the way he answers the question, and how it's zero fear, like zero fear. Brett, you got the first clip?
Well, I guess first off,
Oh, go ahead.
Filippo, did you guys watch the interview, the presser?
Clips. I've watched.
I did. I watched the full interview.
Did you guys, or Pete, did you read any of the chat? Did you follow the chat at all?
The chat was interesting. It's actually kind of entertaining.
I wanted to, before we jump into any of the clips, I just want to show a couple of the highlights. And oddly enough, have got 5 clips here, and they're all from the same person.
Comment. Oh, this is the dialogue on the side, the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what guy you're talking about too.
Okay. Let's see here. Here's the first one.
Yeah, I remember this guy. He's also a Manchester United fan. He's not a Leeds fan.
Yes.
Yep. Exactly.
He just was like just spamming the chat for the longest time until he probably got timed out. And then after he came back, he came up with a new one.
He's taking us down. He's taking us down. Marsch the Bloody Yank is taking us down. I'm sure they'll turn that into a chant at Leeds if things go badly. Let's hope they don't. Another one of Rangnick's disciples, always in our shadow. We are the real United. Yeah, okay, that's
coming out. Yeah.
Yeah, Man United guy. He's just upset Rangnick's there. Right?
I mean, they wish they were Manchester United. Manchester United is top 5 right now, 6. They're almost getting relegated.
Yeah, that's a little nervous. Rangnick's pet. Okay, I mean,
and got one more.
Boy, that's almost excessive at this point. Eric Cantona. Okay. Someone who pines for the old days, apparently.
The old days.
Yeah. So we're going to play some of the clips that we picked out, and you guys will probably have already seen most of them. Way to prep the guests there, Brett.
I will say real quick, though, that Anirudh fellow was actually in the minority in the chat.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
The vast majority of the fans were like, yeah, well, I love, Bielsa, but, I'm going to give him a chance. He seems like well-spoken. Like, there was really complimentary, mostly, I thought.
And I'm really impressed with that accent you just threw on there.
That was pretty good.
That's not even remotely a Yorkshire accent. Leeds fans, when they watch this, are going to come for me. They're going to be like,
well, what was interesting? Go ahead.
One thing to say too is talking about Leeds fan. I had a video with the Leeds United channel talking about Jesse Marsch, and
I saw that guy,
and he's actually looking forward and excited for it. He explained the reasoning why tactically, right? He said that Marsch is more of a zonal presser.
Yep.
And Bielsa is more of a man mark presser, and he thinks zonal will work much better with the Leeds United player. So he thinks Marsch is the right fit. Now, obviously, this is just us speculating, right? We'll see how he actually implements that idea into Leeds United. But this guy was very smart. He was talking about this Englishman, Connor, and he seemed excited for it. He didn't. He completely fought off the Ted Lasso. I mentioned Ted Lasso. He's like, no, man. He said it's funny. No.
Yeah, he said he wouldn't touch that. But I actually subscribed to his channel right after that. So thanks. And I watched his show today as well, where he went into this as well. But yeah, you're right. I think that generally the English media locally in Leeds has been really positive, which is nice to hear. And the fact that Jesse had a great sense of humor about it and was very, he read the room, and that's something Greg can't do. Greg has a real hard problem reading the room.
Toxic.
I think he's actually just reading the chat. He's like, God, I gotta bring it up now.
And he didn't say the word field. And he didn't use the word soccer, except for saying, I'm not going to say soccer. So there you go. And we'll get into all those. Go ahead, Brett. Let's play this first clip. Don't think we have sound.
What?
No. But he's looking good.
I clicked it.
We did this. We're just getting used to this live thing, guys.
I know to click it. I clicked it. It's the weirdest thing in the world.
It's tough for Brett because he's got to be on the show and do all this.
It could be that you just don't have sound it was very quiet. The questions are very quiet. It could just be
very true. So I'll go ahead and prep it in case you guys can't hear the actual question. I did check it this time, so you'll at least hear Jesse. But this is basically asking why is he at Leeds? Or why Leeds?
Okay.
Why you see
a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think he says the opposite
themselves.
All right, here's the start.
Some of that what's been made about the fact that you and him have similar sort of styles, certainly. I just wondered, does that allow you to make a quicker impact, bearing in mind those similar styles?
Well, I mean, this is the reason I'm here, I think. right? I certainly didn't have the a coaching career, managerial career that Marcelo had before he came, but I think anyone who is in charge of a sporting side of a club should do a really good job of trying to figure out what, in the end, are processes and succession plans for players, for staff, certainly for managers, so that the transition from one phase of a club to the next is as smooth as it can possibly be. And certainly then when I sit and talk with Victor at different moments and he explains to me the reasons why he believes I'm the right person, you can't help but be attracted to that kind of analysis and also energy. Yeah, I believe as well. It's the reason I'm here.
That was a good summary. And I think later on he goes on to say, I really thought Bielsa should have stayed for the rest of the season, which I thought was really like the smart thing to say.
Yeah, he said that he would have liked to have seen him finish out the season and go from there, like then take over in the summer. But
he even said that when Andrea, I believe Andrea is the owner's name, asked him to come on early, he actually fought for Bielsa and said, I think you should stick with him to the end of the season because he'll keep you up, which, you know.
But rumors behind the scenes have it that he had lost the locker room with the man-to-man marking and especially the back four or the back three, depending on the game you want to point out. But they had lost belief, as well as some of the midfielders. They were getting scored on constantly, so something had to change. And as far as I understand it, that was the reason that he was given, although he's not going to say that in public. But the real reason was ownership had talked to the players and they said, listen, it's not getting any better anytime soon. You're going to have to change things, or he's going to have to change. And in fact, they asked Bielsa to change, and Bielsa said, no, I'm not changing.
Wow. Mirror images of Marsch.
Jesse Marsch. Yeah, it's totally crazy. It is. It really is.
Seems like a lot of coaches nowadays.
What's that?
It seems like a lot of coach. I was going to say one of the US doesn't like to change, just keeps his verticality, his 4-3-3 whipping crosses.
When you have the number one winning percentage in America, in American history, okay, then you don't have to change. You just have to do you, bro.
Even on those games where we lose, we dominate.
He's not even the best bald USMNT coach ever.
It's true. And I believe Bruce Arena's pretty much bald at this point too, at least on the very
Bob
top.
Bradley too is
yes.
Bruce Arena. I don't know, man. Bruce the 2017 version of Bruce Arena was not a good memory.
Yeah, we don't have to relive that. Ouch.
we relive it every window.
Yeah,
we relive it.
We really do.
So we might kill it off this one, but this is where it ends.
Hopefully.
It's got to end.
I hope you're right. Do we want to take some questions on the side if they are related to anything we're talking about here with Pete and Filippo? I know that's a lot to do, Brett, and I really hate the fact that you have to do it.
I actually stopped looking at it for a second there.
Okay,
here we go.
We need a Dustin. That's what we need.
Did he say anything about verticality?
Nothing.
There was nothing about verticality, which will be the reason why he fails. Not enough verticality.
Verticality. Yep. So true. All right. You want to play the next vid?
Just grab one more here.
Oh, okay. Let's do a few.
Just to make it clear, verticality only has one weakness, which is away games in CONCACAF. That's the weakness of verticality. So if you're not playing away in CONCACAF, you need to use verticality.
This is very true. Otherwise, it's very stifled. All right. Armando Zarate asks, if he manages to keep them up without a transfer window and with an injured squad, that would be an achievement within itself.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, guys. I mean, if you want to comment on that, it would be. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if he keeps them up, that's all he has to do this season. Is not get relegated, And then next, like in the summer, they can refresh the squad. They can rebuild. There's rumors about, Brendan Aronson coming in, possibly Georgi Mihailovic. Personally, I'd be a little surprised to see that, but the owner will back him in the summer if he keeps them up. And that's all he has to do now. And I'll be honest, I don't think it's going to be as hard as some people are saying to keep them up.
Yeah.
They got Norwich to worry about. Come on.
They're much better. They're much better than the teams that are battling relegation on paper. right? They have players that are high quality players like Rafinha, Calvin Phillips, Bamford also for the relegation is a good center forward. So they should be fine, right? The problem that the guy that came to my channel was talking to Leeds is this man press style of play from Bielsa without Calvin Phillips all season. Was a hot mess, right? I believe one of their center backs, the German center back they moved him to the midfield. He's slow. It was getting broken down very easily, and they're probably the worst defense in the Premier League right now. So if he can just make the defense a little bit better, playing a 4-2-2-2 formation, making it a little bit more compact, narrow, and try to go direct, he has the players. He should be fine in terms of relegation. That shouldn't be an issue.
Especially since all the reports say that Bamford's like this close to coming back and Phillips is about this close to coming back.
Yeah.
That would be a big deal for sure.
Okay.
Chris Gary.
Hold on. We'll come back to Chris because that's going to be a nice transition to our next clip.
Oh, okay.
Just got to cover this while it's here.
So says the producer. I trust you, Brett.
Spencer Daughtry for $8. Thanks, man. Can you all... The hell is that word? Succinctly explain major reasons why Jesse is greater than Greg. Sorry, there's probably 100+ reasons.
All right, well, let's start.
Start?
Yeah, go ahead, Filippo. Let's start.
I'll just start by the most simple answer possible. When you get a job somewhere, right, in the real world outside of soccer, you send them your resume, and they cut some people off based off the resume. Right? When you get Jesse Marsch's resume and Greg Berhalter's resume, you would cut off Greg Berhalter's resume. So that's like the simple answer. Now, that's probably all I'm going to leave off. Otherwise, we're going to keep going. I need to let you guys talk to.
Well, that's the paper version for sure. Yeah.
Right. The paper version is just look at the resume, and there you have it. Like any job application in the world, you usually go based off first on the resume, and then you do the interviews, and then people that have a similar resume, you select based on your feeling. Like how you felt on the interview with that person. That's the first one.
The problem is I don't think not all the other coaches that probably applied for the job didn't have brothers within USSF, so that helps. Or hers.
Oof.
Yeah.
Pete, what do you think? I mean, just give us one or two reasons. There probably are 100, but
yeah. I mean, look, I don't even want to go on record as saying that Jesse is better than Greg. Right? For me, they're both actually similar in the sense that they're both ideologues. They both think the game should be played a certain way. And, we love Jesse. I love Jesse. But I'm not going to lie. I still have concerns about Jesse's ability to adapt when the circumstances aren't ideal. He didn't adapt at Leipzig. Even at Salzburg, as successful as he was, he never did anything that Salzburg is doing now, getting to the, knock out of a Champions League, right? I love Jesse. I do. And I think that's the way, if you want it,
He had a tougher group, right? They had an easy group this time.
He never did anything, even in Europa League. I'm sorry. I don't think they necessarily had that much tougher of a group. Look, I like Jesse. I'm just saying that I need Jesse to be a little more adaptable and flexible and not just be like, if your players don't fit my system, we're not going to be successful. And that's essentially what happened at Leipzig.
They're both very dogmatic. Yeah.
Yes, very dogmatic. And you can afford to be more dogmatic at a club than a national team.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
But we know how that is true about Jesse. My only question in regards to Greg is, what is Greg's system? Right? Because Jesse, we know his style of play is the Red Bull one, the press gig. What is Greg? I don't know what Greg is.
Do not question at all. Sit down.
You're losing your press pass right now, Felipe. Get out of here.
You will hear a lot of the same.
Making Jesse's artist sad.
You will hear a lot of the same language out of Marsch's mouth that you hear out of Berhalter's mouth about when you press quickly, you dispossess, and then you immediately attack. A lot of those things are very much the same. The difference is one tends to play a little bit different setup. Greg's married to a 4-3-3, and Jesse is sort of married to either two things, a 4-2-2-2 or a 3-4-3. So that's it.
He's played a 4-4-2 diamond a few times at Salzburg. Leipzig, he didn't do that. Now, another thing to say is the press conference you're talking about, right? They seem like one seems like a leader, a professional, Jesse Marsch.
Yes.
Yeah. While Greg, it sometimes seems like he's not even in touch with reality, right? Like leaving the Canada game, that we lose 2-0. We don't play well. We don't dominate. And he comes out saying he's never seen such a dominant performance away and all that crap. So there's also the personality difference, right? Marsch seems to have some charisma, be able to motivate people and get like, I'm with this guy, while Greg does bounce passes and wears cool shoes.
So going off of that, you know, I think it's a personality issue for me. And you brought up the pressers, and we're comparing the two. I think the thing we need to look at is Greg's sense of humor versus Jesse's sense of humor. And Greg's sense of humor is, I like this Starbucks cup I got. It's pretty cool. It's got a moose on it. And Jesse lays in it for a minute, and we'll watch this one later when he talks about how Ted Lasso probably didn't help the image of American coaches abroad.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree. It's charisma, right?
Yep.
When Jesse talks, you want to run through a wall for this guy, right? When Greg talks, you want to bark like an African dog. Like that's kind of the different level of like motivation. You see these clips, right? There was that clip of Jesse in the Champions League halftime.
Yep.
You know, so feel respect for the Gegner, and he was going after these guys and like they need to feel us. We need to compete. And then you cut to like Greg's halftime, and he's like, "We're gonna sick the dogs tonight. We're dogs. Woof woof." I'm just like, what is going on? So I'm being a little facetious here. I don't want to suggest that wasn't the right thing to do, but I just when Greg talks, I'm like, huh? And when Jesse talks, I want to run for a wall.
And the other big difference about today is when Jesse's taking questions, he looks like, you know, free going, sort of free spirited kind of guy. Whereas when Greg takes questions, it's like he's taking questions from the Grim fucking Reaper or something. You know, he's got a really sullen. And then the other difference is the timidity of the two different medias. You know, Greg gets the softballs, and then they asked Jesse some kind of weird ones that could have gone awkwardly today. So maybe we should get the next one, Brett.
Well, he won them over, no?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, and you could feel it in the chat too. And again, we're gonna get to some of these clips with like the Ted Lasso clips and stuff like that. But it was just you could feel the chat just sway into his favor. Like, okay, I like him. I'm gonna give him a chance, you know, type thing.
Shout out to Michael the Turd Cameraman. Welcome to the chat.
I would click on you, but I don't want to scroll up to find this question again. But Chris Gary says Marsch wanting. How do you pronounce his name? Yelsa. Okay, I know I would say it wrong regardless of how I say it. To stick out the season reminds me of when he allegedly went to Leipzig board and said he isn't the right person for the job,
which we broke right here on this show. We did it. We said, listen, that's kind of weird because I said it and then people are like, how do you fucking know? But we had got word through the grapevine that Jesse was basically went to the management and said, listen, I thought we were going to do things my way, the Red Bull way. And they said, no, we want you to, could you do it like the guy before you? Because that worked. And Jesse's like, no, maybe I'm the wrong guy for the job. And they said, well, maybe you are the wrong guy for the job. He's like, yeah, I'm going to leave. And that's kind of how the conversation went, as we were told from someone behind the scenes. And we reported it that day, and people were like, man, how do you know that? And then it turns out, as we're about to find out, is this the quote, Brett?
This is. Yep.
Where he talks about it?
Yep.
And your last job was with a big club in a major European league. I wonder what that taught you with hindsight, and whether it taught you to do anything differently this time around.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Leipzig situation is difficult for me to explain clearly. It was on paper the right move because it was inside of our company and in theory a similar type playing style, but then getting there and getting on the ground, I could see that a lot had changed from a lot of perspectives, and I had major concerns from the start on whether the things that I wanted to implement were going to work. Unfortunately, those feelings played themselves out, but I was perfectly acceptable to say that this wasn't going to work. I should also say, we had a Corona where everyone was hurt. I was in quarantine. And before that time, we were in 5th place. We had just beaten Dortmund. Like, it seemed like things were moving in a positive direction, and it fell apart. what I learned from that, and this is why I applied to why I want to be here in Leeds, is that what's most important is the connection of people and the similar mindsets on what we want to be, how we want to communicate, how we want to work every day, how we want to play. That connection among people inside of a club and with the community is what's most important. And again, this is what led me to here.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think that kind of clearly lays out that he got there. And of course, Nagelsmann had just left. And once things started going south, the team, I heard, also sort of mutinied in a way. They're like, we don't want to play this fucking high press shit. We want to go back to what we were doing last year with Nagelsmann. And that just, it wasn't going well. So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts about that or comments.
Can I speak real quick? Because I got to go, because I got to pack and get ready to sleep. So just real quick on that. Yeah, it's a confirmation of what we've been hearing about the past few months, I would say, probably, right? Ever since. And then we stopped talking about Marsch a little bit once he was on forced vacation after getting fired. But yeah, it definitely Leipzig, there were more issues. We also heard that his wife was going through health issues that has to affect him as a human being. And you're not 100%. We all know how it could be if you have outside problems affecting you in your day-to-day work. So yeah, it's unfortunate that it didn't work out. And I'm happy for Jesse that he's getting a second chance in the top 5 league in a club that might not be like Leipzig, that will be competing for Champions League. But it's a very prestigious club that maybe next season, if he does the pieces right, maybe he can get to like deep on an EFL Cup, FA Cup, or possibly qualify to an Europa League or something. That would be very good if he can do that for Leeds United. A team that a lot of people that are young, well, I'm young too, but don't remember how big Leeds United was, right? They made it to a semifinals of the Champions League before getting relegated because of bankruptcy. It's a very traditional club, and they're actually the main rivals of Manchester United. So I'll go from that. But boys, Pete, Brett, Derek, I'm going to go. I got the plane to catch early in the morning. Guys, enjoy.
Thanks, Filippo.
Hit the like button before you go, and ciao.
Ciao, Filippo.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
All right. Well, it was great to have both of you on the show at the same time, even though we knew it was going to be brief.
More.
I know we should. We will.
You guys should come on 11 Yanks. I don't think you've ever come on 11 Yanks, have you?
Oh, we'd be happy to. That would be fun.
I will save that for the OnlyFans channel coming on.
That's where we make Derek do the Hips Don't Lie dance.
You know, it's only so funny. I didn't even know what OnlyFans was until we started doing the show again. I had no clue.
Yeah, right. I don't believe you, Derek. You're subscribed to like 15 OnlyFans personalities, probably.
No fucking clue whatsoever what it was until somebody made a joke about it like many months ago on the show. I'm like,
oddly enough, Pete, they're all feet. So
I hate feet. I have like an anti-foot fetish, actually. I think the foot is the ugliest part of the human body. It really is. It really is.
I could think of some uglier ones.
I guess it's all preference, I suppose.
This is true.
Yeah.
Also, it depends whose feet, right? I mean, you're talking about my feet are not great, but I'm sure there are some pretty feet out there.
I think all men's feet look like fucking caveman feet.
Yes.
Especially the ones with little hairs on their knuckles and stuff.
Yeah. For sure. Also, we don't get pedicures, right? We're not cleaning shit up. And I mean, maybe you guys do. I'm not a big pedicure guy.
Yeah.
So
no, not at all. And it's like, dude, stop wearing flip-flops, please. When I'm in like, whatever, some store and I see a bunch of college kids wearing flip-flops, I'm like, please stop that. Birkenstocks too.
Turning me off.
Put some socks on, motherfucker. All right. Let's move on to the next part, Brett.
Okay.
Before we get too far off topic, which tends to happen around here.
Yes.
What's great about this segment is I didn't have to adjust it at all. It was immediately after the Leipzig comment. And this is talking about the types of changes that he can implement in the squad leading up to this weekend's match.
On a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Given that you can't do everything this week because you've only got a few days before Leicester, what specifically have you looked at tactically for this team? What do you specifically tried to change?
Well, certainly getting away from the man marking, trying to also with the ball create tactics that don't expose us for transition moments as much. So though, the clarity of the tactical model, without going, so deep into every little detail, it's introducing important topics that I think the players are, and I can say it's an intelligent group, that they are that they can understand and put to practice. That has been, in the end, that has been what the focus has been this week. And then, continuing to for them to understand my personality and how we're going to continue to move forward as a group.
So the thing about that, Pete, which is interesting, is A, he doesn't have a whole lot of time. B, later on, he refuses to name the kind of formation he's going to use for the next game against Leicester. 3, he said Leicester properly after people were mocking him. They're like, just wait till he says Leicester. I bet you he says Leicester or something like that. Leicester, that was it. And he got it right. But I
blame the English language as a whole. That's just, they set people up for failure.
But he's right about he doesn't have much time. How much can he get done before the game this weekend?
It's tough. It's tough. I mean, usually you get a new manager bounce, right? When an old coach is sacked because things are going poorly, there's like a collective sigh of relief. And there's a new guy coming in. Everybody ups their performances a little bit. It's almost like a fresh start. And so you have 2 or 3 games, ideally, to kind of take advantage of that new manager bounce. That doesn't mean they're going to win all those 3 games, or even that they're going to win any of them. But generally, you have a positive feeling, which is a sort of a good place to start from. Jesse Marsch has always talked about a ball-oriented press, right? That's the way he wants to play. It's not man-to-man. He even said they're going to move away from man-to-man. I think a lot of Leeds fans are happy to hear that. I think the players were probably happy to hear that because they don't seem like they enjoyed it either. The question is, can he get these guys who are also exhausted after a very, like Bielsa's system, everywhere he has gone towards the end of the season, the players just, their energy levels drop because it's so high intensity for so long. And especially in England where they don't really have a winter break. Right. It's even worse. Mm-hmm. My question is, how much do these Leeds players have in the tank? But Jesse is pretty good at understanding what's going on. He's not going to come and try to impose his system. It sounds like he's going to simplify it and give them a little more freedom and try a few basic things without overloading them with information a la you-know-who.
Yeah.
But I think the easiest thing that they can do in such a short amount of time is just dropping the man marking. I mean, 99.99% of the players there probably grew up not man marking. And I don't think we have the clip.
There's like 3 managers in the whole world.
Yeah, I know.
And Mateus Almeida is one of them.
Exactly. At San Jose is what he, and wears you out by the end of the season because you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off if it's not done properly. And my question is, what formation because he has 2 favorite formations. Does he stick? I mean, what formation do you think the team are going to be more familiar with? And or he mentioned Leicester as the opponent. 3-4-3 or 4-2-2-2? What do you think?
I think 4-2-2-2.
Yeah, I would hope. I would hope that would be it.
Jesse, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I was saying. I'm
hoping Greg is in the attendance watching that game, not because there's an American playing, but then maybe he can learn a new formation.
Yeah. Jesse likes to use the touchline as a defender, right? That's why he does this 4-2-2 thing, and then he presses you, and the only place you have to go is wide. And then once you push the ball wide, he just scoots that block over and presses you tightly up against that touchline, and you have nowhere to go. That's how he likes to play. Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing we're going to see that in Leicester as well.
I mean, if Leicester are anyway familiar, and this will be beneficial for Jesse too, there's probably they haven't had a whole lot of time to study the footage on how Jesse plays. And so that's going to be rough for them because there are ways to break down that zonal press, and it's by getting in between and finding space in between the players, and that can break it down. So, but they're not going to have a whole lot of time to prepare for that, and I'm not sure how much they see it in the English Premier League, the high press. I mean, not a lot of teams play that kind of crazy Gegenball.
Not to that level,
right?
And that this brings me to my next point, guys. The whole gegenpressing, this is just my opinion. The whole gegenpressing, we're going to press until we die, and then when we win the ball, we're going to go as direct as we can go, in my opinion, is kind of played out at the highest level. Yeah. Jurgen Klopp the guy who was at Leipzig before Jesse, Julian Nagelsmann, who's now at Bayern, they understood this, and they created more hybrid systems of pressing and also possession. Because also the higher level you go, the players don't want to press. These guys are talented, technical, world-class players. They want the ball. They don't want to just win it and then get rid of it. And so I don't know, like this whole Ralph Rangnick trying to do this at Manchester United, it's not really working. And I think for the same reasons. It's okay at lower levels. Like at Leeds, it might be fine. At Champions League level teams, I don't know if this is you have to adapt. And this is my concern with Jesse.
On that hybrid model, that was one of the things the Leipzig players had said behind the scenes, which is, hey, when we do get it occasionally, can we just take some time to rest and catch our breaths and possess it for a while and maybe run them around a little bit too before we go straight for the, well, as they said in one of the famous movies, straight for the clitoris. You don't need to jump straight to the clitoris. You got to take your time, right?
And the Clit Commander. Sorry, different movie.
I'm sorry. That's probably a little startling for some, but it's a movie reference.
Yes.
All right. You want to move on to the next one? What movie was that?
I don't know which movie you're talking about.
I think it was Everything You Wanted to Know About Sex, But Were Afraid to Ask, which is a Woody Allen movie. I might be wrong.
I should watch that. I could use some learning.
There's a great sheep scene in there you'll like, Pete.
My reference was Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, so a little less classy, but
yeah. All right, let's do one. What's the next one?
Next one is our favorite one. It's the Ted Lasso reference.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Yes,
the one we're all waiting to see.
Jesse, do you feel there's a stigma around American coaches in English football? You joked this week about people might not like your accent, and Bob Bradley had a hard time when he was there. How did you
Yeah, I think there's probably a stigma. I'm not sure Ted Lasso helped. I haven't watched the show, but I get it. Like, people hate hearing the word soccer. They hate hearing, I've used the word football since I was a professional football player. I think more and more in the States, we're adapting to what the game here is in England and our connection with what this league is and what the culture of the sport is in this country. I can understand that they don't think that we have the experiences that can be created here in Europe. Frankly, they're right. I mean, it was the reason I came to Europe. It was the reason I learned German. It was the reason I tried to adapt to new cultures. This is the 5th country I've coached football in. So, and it takes me out of my comfort zone every time. It challenges me to grow and develop and learn new things. I'm very open to that. I'm very cognizant of the fact that I'm not perfect and I don't want to be. And all I can say is the only way I know how to do things is to go all in, to give everything I have, to believe in who I am, to believe in the people that I work with, and to try to maximize what we are every day. And I find if you can do that effectively, that you can be incredibly surprised with the human spirit and what you can achieve. So that sounds like Ted Lasso, I think, from what I've heard.
It was at that moment he won the audience over.
Yeah, I think so. There were a couple things there. That was major sucking up to the English, not just media, but also to fans, because there's no way he didn't use the word soccer while he's playing with Chivas USA. I just don't think that's fucking possible, number one. And number two, 5 countries, Canada, US, Austria, Germany.
England's the 5th. He said this is the 5th country I've coached in.
He was already counting in England, even though he hasn't coached a game yet. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, look, Jesse Marsch for me is what more Americans should be. After he got fired from Montreal, he took his family around the world and traveled and didn't stay in hotels and all of that. They stayed in he wanted them to experience other cultures and to expose themselves to other languages and other ideas and to adapt, and just realize that there's a big wide world outside the United States, which some, not all, but some Americans maybe struggle to, I think, believe or to really understand that, like, we think we're the epicenter of the world, and maybe in some ways we are just because we're a superpower, but there's a big world out there, and there's a lot of other ways of thinking and doing things. And Jesse, understands that, and I think, learning German, a lot of Americans don't bother to learn a second language, adapting to other cultures. I think that's been really good for him, both as a coach and as a human being. And I love that about him. I think more Americans should go abroad and test themselves, even if it's in obscure places. More American coaches, we see players doing it. More coaches should go do it, even if it's like, whatever, the Macedonian League, right? Go expose yourself to something different, and I think I love that about Jesse, that he's always done that, even if he hasn't always been that successful.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of when they asked Pepe after one of the games in an interview, how is your German lessons going?
Yeah.
And he said, very good. He should have said sehr gut. That would have really won him over.
No, he says it's constantly improving. There's some along those lines.
Yeah, well, he should have used some German. That's all I'm saying. That would have won him over immediately. And believe me, the fact that, and you're so right, Pete, the fact that he went there and learned German going in, like he was already pretty good when he already got to Salzburg. Like that really garners respect. That's like the players understand, this guy gives a shit. He really wants to communicate with us. So that's a big positive. Brett, did you have anything to add?
No, I just on that clip, I think the sense of humor alone was a breath of fresh air for a lot of fans. And it's good to see. Definitely knowledgeable in the game, but I did pull up Jose Lopez's comment here because it does bring us into something here real quick.
Oh, that idiot that criticized him for saying soccer.
So it's not even a pet peeve anymore. I really don't care. So I mock people who do it's not soccer, it's football comment. And so I tend to have a lot of fun with those type of people. But BNR Football posted the same thing. Like he doesn't use the word soccer, et cetera, et cetera. So somebody wrote pulled up a quote of basically the etymology behind the term soccer. We're not going to worry about this. We all know where it comes from. We've all had this argument with many people. So then somebody goes, Lorik goes, don't try to find an explanation. No one on the entire planet uses the word soccer besides the USA. It's football or football. So
that's a lie.
So my response to him was, in the entire planet, how big are these subterranean populations that they should dictate what the sport is called for all? I say live, let live. I'm assuming their home turf is artificial, maybe some kind of cave moss. Either way, hard to grow grass, I would expect. So,
well, Pete, you've been all over the world. You know this isn't true. I mean, I could list off all the countries that either use soccer, just soccer, or use a mixture of football and soccer. I mean, we got USA, Canada, Australia, Ireland.
New Zealand.
I mean, you can get into New Zealand, even some obscure ones like Liberia, for obvious reasons. Pakistan, the Philippines use both interchangeably. So does South Africa and Singapore. I mean, do we need to say any more?
Trinidad and Tobago are literally called the Soccer Warriors. Soccer, SOCA.
Exactly.
Soccer Warriors. A lot of Jamaicans call it soccer too.
Yeah, I think that if that's the hill you want to die on as a Twitter person, and you care about soccer, man, you need to rework and rethink your priorities.
We're taking over the world right now.
Yeah, Italians call it calcio.
Calcio. Yeah,
that's not even remotely related. Like football, you can kind of get away with saying, "Oh, it's just a Spanish version of football," but calcio, that's. Look, I mean, for me, of all the things there is to criticize about American culture, what we call a soccer culture, what we call the game is just the dumbest thing. Like, we call it soccer because we need to differentiate between the two games. Get over it. If you want to say we're tactically inept or something like that, fine. Make a different criticism, and then we can have a discussion, and I'll say we're not. But, but this is such a dumb and old, tired cliche of a criticism, in my opinion.
It sure as hell is. I mean, in South Korea, they call it chuga, which translate literally to kickball, which I played in elementary school. Kickball.
Should we go to their chat forums and say it's not kickball, it's soccer?
Yeah.
So Cedric Jr. on Twitter responds going, and Americans are supposed to be arrogant? ? British people can't tolerate a word that they coined. Shaking my head. I go, this makes me think that we should start taking over more words at this point, or at what point in the future will the English be speaking a completely different language?
Fair point.
Yep. We don't know.
But can
I ask you guys something? What did you make of his comments where he said, Oh, I'm sorry. Were we not done? Continue.
No,
I
we'll
didn't-
keep going. Keep going. Yeah.
Yeah.
where he said, I don't think Ted Lasso helped, because I've had this Ted Lasso debate with a lot of people. I think it's a great show. Like, I enjoy watching the show. It's half comedy, half serious. It's heartwarming. It's slice of life. But in my opinion, it has kind of reinforced the stereotype that Americans don't really understand the game. They're simply, you know, pithy one-liners and heartwarming motivational speeches, and through that and some great music, you know, victories and heroics can be achieved sort of mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate that, because that's not true. I mean, we are in the American soccer landscape. Fans are very knowledgeable. Coaches are very good, a lot of them. You know, there's a very good tactical understanding, not only of the game, but I think we have a very diverse understanding of different soccer cultures, because Americans are everywhere. So we have to watch England, Germany, Spain. We watch the Champions League, Mexico. Like, American soccer fans, I think, are some of the most educated. English soccer fans do not watch soccer outside of England. They watch the Premier League and then Champions League if their club is in it. But they don't watch the rest of the world. And so I hate the stereotype that Ted Lasso continues to propagate, even if it's not trying to. I know it's a TV show and it's not related, but he is right, in my opinion. Maybe you guys can disagree with me, that it does propagate a stereotype that's not really fair to Americans.
And so go ahead, Brett.
I was to say it's twofold. It reinforces that stereotype abroad. However, there are a number of people who posted responses to that quote saying, "Hey, I was never a big soccer fan at all, and I watched Ted Lasso, and it started getting me into watching the sport." So it can benefit us stateside, but not necessarily worldwide.
And I think Jesse handled it perfectly. And had he not, had that been Greg, who knows it could have gotten really awkward and sullen, and who knows how he would have answered that. I think Bob Bradley would have grinned as well. I think he would have had a chuckle.
Mm-hmm.
Not so sure about Greg. Maybe he would have. I don't know. Hard to read Greg sometimes.
Here's what I think Greg would have said. Okay, I mean, you do a Greg.
Do a Greg.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't really know if there's a stereotype. What I think is important for us as a group is just to remember the principles of play, you know, and if we have, you know, verticality, and we have, you know, the ability to create on the ball, then it doesn't matter what anybody else says. What was the other question that you asked? I'm sorry. Oh, hang on. I have a mug. I want to show you.
It's so true.
Classic.
That would have been the classic. It would have been, kind of like that. I'd agree. He wouldn't have really answered the question. You know what? I don't even know if Greg would have bothered to take that. He would have said, "All right, next question."
I'll say the unspoken comment that Greg says, I guess he would go, I'm sorry. What's your name again? Yeah, you'll no longer be asking questions. Get out of the room.
Yes, Michael, the turd cameraman would jot it down.
Got him. Don't worry about it.
Meg Swanek can no longer ask questions. Yeah.
Meg Swanek, poor Meg.
That didn't really happen, but
no, it didn't. Although Sam Stejko got pretty close when he asked about the marking system with the corners after Panama, remember?
Yeah.
Has he been on since?
Yeah, no, he has. He has been on since. Yeah. He has.
There's some guys they just call on over and over again. You really can't get rid of, like Goff, and Schroeder.
Yes.
I mean, they're guys that have been around so long that if you canceled them, it'd be so obvious.
Yes.
Even Grant Wall, who's not self-aware to know that there is an access issue.
Pete,
all right, next one.
Did you have a copy of all of our talking points and our things here? Because this is about zonal marking and on set pieces. Fascinating that we talked about that, about Greg and Sam's question.
So this is the man marking one. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm not even going to hit play because I don't know if I hit the share button. I wish I would default to sharing audio. Is it that hard? Why would you not want to share audio all the time?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe.
Damn it.
Maybe your parents are having sex in the other room behind you and you want to mute so your coworkers can't hear it.
I'm not even going to make the OnlyFans comment there.
All right.
I'm setting you up there. It's not going to happen. It's already out of the park, buddy.
Fair enough.
With your zonal marking, will this apply at set pieces as well as more generally?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have set piece strategies too. I understand that one of the strengths of the group is this idea of locking in on players at the right moments. And listen, even if we want to talk about the way that I like to think about football, there are moments when we are in man marking spaces and man marking moments, and our ability to be aggressive and attack the opponent in those moments is going to be really important for the adaptation to the way that I would like the team to play. And then we'll see what I'm not going to give away too much for what our program will be.
And it just goes.
That's smart because he doesn't need to give it away.
Well, yeah. Also, he doesn't want the other team to, plan for anything, which is why he has to be careful what he says. But I think he was about as upfront as he could have been without giving away tactics,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd agree. Do we have any questions?
Well, we still have another clip real quick.
I know, but I thought maybe we'd take on a couple before they all fly by. Become irrelevant.
Yeah, I had one.
Can confirm. Can confirm.
That's good news.
I mean, who isn't? Let's be honest.
I'm kind of a legs guy, actually.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, I had some girlfriends with small boobs. Didn't bother me too much. As long as, anyhow, what am I getting? No, I'm not getting into that.
You're like getting fodder for cancellation.
Yeah. Exactly.
Cancellation fodder is what this is right here.
It is. No more boob questions. And no more Hope Solo stuff in the chats, please, people. I saw that multiple times. It was our fault last time.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the leaked photos. Anyhow.
Yeah, there was an RPC joke in there. I did not pull up.
Right.
They came up, and I said, "Ew."
You did? Oh my god.
Yeah, probably shouldn't have said anything. But they weren't. Anyhow, God, I'm going to do it again. All right.
Just, in fairness to anybody if my photos were leaked, people would go, ugh, just as much.
That's for sure.
Even more so.
Oh no, people will throw up in their mouths for me.
And then send it to me in the mail. All right, we're getting off.
So, Chris Gary says Greg is the world's largest single cell organism.
Okay. Chris, what the hell, Chris? Thoughts on the new U.S. men's national team TV deal? I haven't even heard about this yet. Have you?
HBO, Turner Sports.
Okay.
$200 million, right?
I didn't know the figure. I just knew where they're going.
Turner,
yeah.
Can you find that anywhere? Is that
doesn't Turner have like TNT and stuff like that?
Okay.
Yeah, they have a bunch of different. I think it's going to be on HBO Max.
Oh no!
Anything behind the paywall.
So another paywall that you have to pay for. Luckily I already have HBO Max because I have other shows on there that I watch. But for most people who don't have that,
it's getting irritating at this point. I've got ESPN Plus. I've got Paramount Plus.
Peacock.
Then I signed up for
Peacock.
Disney just to watch
the Premier League.
Just to watch the Beatles movie for. So I'm signed up for all this shit, and it's probably going to be mostly useless then next time around. So yes, confirmed from Lance, 200 mil. Hey Lance, thanks for all. You're always very informative. Like Lance knows his shit. Like when you were on your last show, and somebody was like, you guys were like, I can't remember Rokas Puksas. It's Haydock split. Like he was like, bam, right there, along with me. He beat me by a second. All right, next one.
Well, and just Turner does have TNT, TBS, and HBO Max. Games will be exclusive to the Max,
of course,
because for whatever reason, a U.S. men's qualifier can't take the place of one of the 160,000 NBA basketball games that go on in the season. Can't just replace one on a cable channel. We've got to throw it behind the paywall.
This paywall thing it's not good for the sport in general. You're really denying access to a lot of people who love football, but can't afford to have 65 different subscriptions.
Yeah.
So it's just not good for the sport, and it needs to stop. And then U.S. soccer needs to stop it. They need to say, no, this needs to be on a nationally televised main channel that everyone can watch.
Yeah, but you're suggesting that they really want to grow the game instead of make money.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah,
like in other words, if ESPN offered them 180 mil, but would be on TV all the time, they would rather take the 200 million deal than give it to ESPN, which might do more to grow the sport. Right? That's my opinion.
Yeah, no. I mean, the whole making money thing is getting pretty old at this point. I'm sure
Yeah.
they could have still made that 200 million, or maybe it would have been 180 if they provided or added that clause that says, it has to be on a main channel that is viewable by 80% or 90% of the audience who have cable or TV. I know cable's a dying thing, folks. I get it. So, but come on, this is getting, my parents are incredibly, they don't have any subscriptions, and every time they hear games not on TV, they're just like, wow, fuck, I've got 1,080 channels and it's not on a single one of my channels. So
cut the cord, Derek. Cut the cord.
Yeah, all right.
Paying for cable when you stream everything. Bob says that if they keep it $5 a month, he's fine with it. If the prices start jumping, that'll be an issue. Is HBO Max only $5 a month?
I thought
it was like 15.
I have no clue. I wouldn't know.
I mean, I have access to HBO Max. I just don't know the price, what it costs.
We got one
enough for sure.
Exactly. Right. We got
there it is right there. Boom. It's $15 a month.
Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot of money on top of your cable bill already. So
yeah,
it's very frustrating for the average fan who maybe is lower middle class, and they're already barely getting by and paying their bills, and now they can't even watch a fucking soccer game, which everybody should be able to watch on their TV.
Plus, now you're spending all that money on gas anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah, no kidding.
You more so than us on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are getting totally royally fucked.
We hit 5.
Ooh.
After the sanctions on Russia, we hit 5.
Oh my God.
Just stop driving.
I know, right? I'm like, stay home and do live streams with Brett and Derek.
We got one more quote, Brett.
Yeah.
Pete, we were planning an hour, but if you want to stay over, you can. If you got to go,
I got to take off pretty soon, but
okay.
I'll stay for this last quote.
Let's do it.
A different balance, because I mean, like last week, Stuart Dallas seemed to sort of switch on to Ryan Sessegnon to sort of man marking when they changed slightly, but in a way, he seemed to be doing too many jobs at once, and it kind of didn't work. Is that something that?
Well, I've played against teams that are man marking.
I think this is still stuck on man marking, which we just did, Brett.
We've always tried to do is create.
They're going to talk over this, but this is the immediately after reference. So she asked a question about man marking on defense on the set plays. This is man marking in general.
We should just let it run last time.
Well, that would have been 2 minutes.
Play behind.
I'm not going to get dinged for that.
This is now what you've seen. The strategy has been for playing against Leeds in the last weeks. Obviously, the way we play, that won't be as simple. It won't be as easy, and we won't rely on just one player to follow one other player. It'll be more how we shift and adjust as a group, and still then come down to defensive moments that we can come up big.
Okay, why don't we do the last one so Pete can talk about the last one, which is because we already talked about man marking ad nauseum.
Do we have another one?
Yeah, we got another one at 52 flat. It's the paranoid English people asking about Americanization of soccer.
Oh, so it's right here, actually. It's coming up next.
Right.
Okay.
It's the very next one. 52 flat. Sorry, Pete.
No worries. No worries.
Ross. Hi, Jesse. You said you played against Leeds 20 odd years ago. And you've obviously followed the progress closely in the past couple of years. What do you see as the club's potential? And obviously there's talk of 49ers potentially completing a full takeover at some point. What's your sort of take on Leeds United as a whole and the club's, potential?
Well, I think knowing football history and what Leeds has been in the past, I know that, and knowing this is a one-team city and that the supporters are so big, not just here in Leeds, but internationally, I think that this club has incredible potential to continue to inch itself forward as a bigger and bigger club here in England. Now, we're in a big moment right now where we have to find a way to fight for everything to stay in the top league, and then we can hopefully continue the process again as we continue to move forward. I want to make it clear that with the 49ers, I met them. They're incredibly intelligent people. They're very clear in terms of what has made them successful in terms of strategies and how to manage organizations. And I think there's a lot to be learned from them. But I also want to make it clear that that's not the main reason I'm here. And to say that there's an Americanization of this club would be inaccurate. I think everyone from Andrea to Angus to Victor are very clear that they have a distinct vision for what this club is and will become, and that the 49ers or me or the talk about American players or whatever, that this is sort of a side note in the process.
I like that. I mean, he took it head on, and he just said there's no conspiracy going on here. I mean, he had to, though, Pete.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a fair point, right? I mean, Bob Bradley had the same questions when he took control of Swansea. I mean, Jason Levine, owns that club. They also own DC United. It's a fair question. And let's be honest, a lot of the American clubs in England right now, or that are owned by Americans, are very unhappy with their American owners, primarily, Arsenal and Manchester United. So that's nothing to do with Jesse. But the same way that, like, if there's an American goes abroad and is rude to their waiter, they're going to think of Americans that way. Doesn't mean we're all that way, right? I might be super nice to my waiter, but like, it's just part and parcel of the, being a part of a country. Like, you're going to get judged by what other people are doing. And I think it's fair, but I think you gave a good answer. Andrea is the guy who runs that club. He owns it. He bought it. It's his passion project. If he didn't want Jesse there, it doesn't matter what the 49ers would say. Jesse wouldn't be there.
Right. I'd agree. Hey, Pete, I just wanted to thank you for coming on for the full hour and more. It was awesome.
For sure, guys. Let's do this at my channel as well. It'd be fun to have you guys.
Yes. Awesome. Yep. Let's do it. Pick a date. I think you have my phone number, right?
I have your phone number. I'll text you.
We'll just text me. Absolutely.
Have
a great good luck. Night at work.
Thanks.
Pete.
Take care, man.
Later. All right. Well, that was fun, everybody, and thanks for showing up for this. I think we got more to cover?
Well, we're done with that. We're done with that topic. We do have one question. Remember?
Okay.
But yeah, Frank. Just Frank said it. Did he say the 49ers?
Yes.
They're our partial owner.
They are 49ers owners.
The owners of the 49ers.
I don't think it's the Bartolo family anymore, is it? I thought that changed hands, but maybe it could be. I mean, I'm not a 49ers fan, so I don't know. And then, somebody asked about John Brooks. I'm going a little down there.
All the way down, huh?
Where should John Brooks sign? Yeah. Somebody had mentioned Bayern Munich, but they need some backup CBs, but let's be really clear. He would end up being a backup CB. And that's not what John Brooks needs in his career right now. Although we're going to hear really soon whether or not, because John Brooks is in form. Okay. So if he doesn't make the next call up, everything we have been telling you for 3 months continues to be true. So let's do more questions.
Do you think Leeds could use some backup in the defense?
Leeds could use Brooks, but then again, Jesse's got to be careful about bringing in all these Americans right away. He's got to kind of trickle them in. He can't just, it's not like FIFA. He can't just go, you know what? I'm going to sign only American players.
Yeah, and there are the rumors that are spreading that even Pete talked about it, but Jordy getting signed, Mihailovic.
Yeah,
I think Aaronson's as long as the money's there, I think Aaronson's probably going to be the best option that he might pull in, because the team was interested in him before Marsch even got
before the change,
signed,
right?
So,
yep, and the owners already knew that. Bielsa was going to go, and they were already interested in Aaronson. So there's that to keep in mind. But you're right, Tom. Brooks could be snubbed for long. That very much could happen. I don't think Brooks to Dortmund. I mean, they do need help, but they might go younger. Brooks is
at the center back. Center back's like the one position that they tend to stay relatively old on. For the most part, starter-wise.
He's itching 30 soon.
I know.
So that might work, but I mean, he needs to probably. He's got to get out of Wolfsburg. Obviously, they don't want him because they didn't even try to really, give him a new deal and give him a new offer that made sense. or made him feel like he's being rewarded for being loyal to them. And so, yeah, he's got to go. He's got to get out of there. That ship has sailed at this point. So, any other questions? Let's see. Dortmund wouldn't be terrible. We just took that on.
Yeah, there we go. Let's do this one.
Brooks to Chicago Fire. So, Greg will rate him. You know,
I'll take it.
I wish that weren't true. I really wish that weren't true, but I think it could be true.
You'd automatically be our starting center back at that point.
Yeah. Got more questions. Still more?
Let's. Well, I guess while we're waiting for other things to pop up here, let's pull up this question on Twitter real quick.
Okay.
So, question: thinking 20 to 30 years from now, if the world still exists, match the following players to their most likely job. Each job can only be matched to one player.
30 years from now, I'd be 80.
You got to do it in 80-year-old Derek's voice too. Like, well, it could be.
That's assuming I make it to 80, which is all the partying I've done over the last 30 years is probably going to, the toll is going to have to be paid at some point. But okay, so we're supposed to draw lines between these. I wish we could actually draw physical lines on this.
I could if I had it pulled up. I'm not going to do it right now. It'd take way too much time and it'd be just not worth the payoff. But if I could easily do it.
Can you just use a marker on your screen?
Yeah. Permanent marker. Wait, this comes off screens, right?
Yeah. All right. So you're asking us to draw lines between these things. This is not going to be, well, it's not that bad, actually. USSF brass.
Well,
that's got to be Reina, dude. His dad's been in the inside for so long. I think if, 30 years from now, I think Reina's more likely than any of these guys to be inside the USSF brass.
Probably,
just like his dad.
Maybe Adams, but probably Reina, I guess, following his footsteps.
Yeah, I didn't pick Adams because I have him as a
coach. Hope.
I was thinking coach. Yeah, I really do.
I'm torn with McKinney, man. He could be TV commentator or he could be a playboy in Monaco.
I think he's going to do both, frankly. I really do. I think he's going to be both. I think he's going to be a TV commentator playboy. But I do think more likely...
It has to be one. I'm going with commentator.
I am too, because
it's not Pulisic as commentator. It's definitely not Dest, who maybe a TV commentator in Europe, but...
Yeah. And that leaves us Dest, right?
Well, Dest and Pulisic for either Playboy in Monaco or a soccer club owner.
Man, both of those guys aren't suited for Playboy at all. But I'm going to say Pulisic as a soccer club owner makes some sense. Dest then's just going to have to default to the Playboy in Monaco. I can see him sitting back smoking cigars. Why not? He's lived in Europe almost his whole life. So why wouldn't he just stay and then pay less taxes by living in Monaco? It's a good place to. They have no taxes in Monaco. So,
Jose Lopez for $199. Dest, DJ, McKinney model, Pulisic coach.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, no, I mean that would make sense too. What was DJ? He's a DJ, huh?
Is that the Playboy is?
No, I thought Playboy model for McKinney, maybe? I don't know.
No, maybe.
All right. Thanks for confusing us, Jose. Gotta spell it out more than that, man. We're idiots at this time of night.
Lance says Reina seems cutthroat and cruel. I think he would be an owner.
Could be, but I mean, out of all those guys, maybe Pulisic would also be a USSF guy, stooge, but no one's been groomed for it better than Reina by his dad. And I'm not calling his dad a stooge, so I'm just saying his dad's inside. He's part of the old clique, the old guard. So.
Hold on. First off, yes,
DJ disc jockey.
We know,
we know, but we can't make any.
Really an option.
We can't really make any assumptions. You know what I mean?
Dest will be a ball boy at Chicago Bulls. He always wears the Chicago Bulls jersey and stuff.
Oh,
I didn't know that. It's Watke video.
Oh,
You haven't seen that video? Go watch that video. He wears the same jersey and kit everywhere he goes, and it's all red, obviously. And he's like, "What's your favorite color?" And he's wearing it. And he goes orange or something like that.
Of course, he's lived his whole life in Holland, and that really is the color of Holland.
Yeah,
orange. After the Duke of Orange, I just kind of hung on to that. PFOC needs to be back regardless. Yeah, PFOC needs to start scoring again. It's a couple games in a row now where he's gone almost
one goal. He's got one goal. He scored the week prior.
I know, but been 2 games without goals. He played again today.
Oh.
Or yesterday?
Well, shit, he's got 13 goals or something like that, or 19 goals all around, or something. I don't know, something ridiculous.
I think it was yesterday he played. He didn't score again. So I get it, but 2 games in a row. I'm just saying he should be there, but that's enough generally for Greg to go, yeah, you're not informed.
When was the last time that Zardes scored? Did Ferreira score this past weekend?
It doesn't matter. Those are his boys. Those are Greg's boys. He likes
Ferreira
those guys.
Ferreira wasn't his boy until just recently.
He's been for 2 windows practically. He's
Does the Bolivia one really count?
All I know is Ferreira knows his system supposedly, and Zardes obviously supposedly knows it. Supposedly, I keep saying the word supposedly because I don't think.
Irregardless of what you're trying to tell me.
Yeah. So, but I don't know.
I would take Ferreira over Zardes in this situation, but
hell yeah,
Zardes has a hell of a lot more experience with the system, but I would still take Ferreira over him.
Good old Brick Feet. He's done in my book. He's done, and he's not even a regular starter for the Crew anymore. So I mean that's an issue.
I thought it was a Bulls jersey.
Exactly what KM Preston just said. Zardes might not even be a starter for the Crew. That is
he wasn't
correct.
this past weekend.
That's right. So, the guy, but I guess that doesn't always matter for Greg because, he'll call up guys that don't start necessarily. I mean, we know that there have been players that have been called up that haven't played for a long time. Wesley Nickens, who do you start in Azteca? Gabe Gab, Slonina, Horvath, or Johnson? Well, that's presuming that the injuries to Stefan and Turner aren't fixed, and I think they will be. In that case, it'll probably be Turner.
This is going around the interwebs. It's even reached Chicago's head fire coach, or Chicago Fire's head coach.
Of course, he said that, but that's not a smart thing to do. To throw 18-year-old kid into the blender of an Azteca. I think he's turning 18 in like 2 months. So
and he'll still be 17 at that point.
And I'm rounding up. Okay. So yeah, I would not throw a young kid like
he's
that.
17 and 3/4, Derek.
He's only 17.
Of those 3 Horvath starts, then I'd play Slonina, then Johnson. No, I played Johnson over Slonina, even though I like Slonina. And I think he's promising. I just think he needs more experience as a whole. And I would not throw him in at Azteca that quickly. Saying that, his attitude, his type of attitude and how he addresses pressure, seems like he'd be fine with it, but he wouldn't be bogged down by it. The all-ness of Azteca is the way he at least plays and runs himself. But no, I would go Horvath, Johnson, Slonina.
Damn, do you see I nailed that? Wesley Nickens turns 18 in May. Just fucking nailed it. That shit's just in my head like I'm a fucking computer or something.
Wesley, what you're saying is come March when we're playing in Azteca, we'll still be 17.
17 and 9 and like 11/12.
4/5. 17 and 4/5, Derek.
All right, what do we got left?
Johnson is so dog shit. He's so shaky on the ball and makes errors, lets in easy goals.
Yeah, I mean, he's not I wouldn't want him to start either. I mean, it's got to be Turner or Stefan. So that's it. I mean, Turner, I heard here is a very minor injury, and same with Stefan. So I think they'll both be fine here in the next couple weeks. Any more?
Nope, that's about it. Yeah, let me just check Twitter real quick. Got a couple notifications. Anything worthwhile?
Hour and 15. So our goal of hitting an hour on these shows has been not working so far, but we
We're
appreciate
bringing it down a little bit. We've been consistently like at 124 every time.
But Jose Lopez, I don't think you should brag about knowing when young boys are going to turn 18 there.
Got a calendar with every single one of them on there.
It's not my thing, my friend. Not my thing. I leave that to Kevin Spacey. All right.
Keyboard Warrior is going to clip that out of context now, just so you know.
Don't even tempt him to. I leave that to Kevin Spacey. That's his thing. Ain't mine.
I don't know. 18, I think, seems a little young or a little old for Kevin Spacey. Allegedly.
Yeah, that's
allegedly
disgustingly true. Yeah, allegedly. Don't sue us, Kevin Spacey.
Well, we didn't say for a fact. We said allegedly.
Yes, allegedly. It's a lot of allegedlys, though, going on there. It's getting dark. Yes, it is. Sorry, Lance. And I don't want to end on a dark note, so
let's see.
If that's did we have anything else? Because if we don't, one of the recommended videos on my screen the other day was Richard White gets eaten by a bear. So it's moved from sharks to bears. I don't know what's going on there. Like, as if the shark thing wasn't bad enough. Now it's bears.
Any guys in Europe you think would benefit from a move to MLS? Shaq Moore being an example.
At this point, yeah. I mean, you're riding pine for Tenerife. Not good.
But we already talked about Brooks. I think a move for PFOC to MLS might benefit him getting back on the national team.
Would it really?
No.
I think he'd be better off moving to Belgium, from Switzerland to Belgium, like a bigger club. So,
God, Bob, that comment, Bob. It's become canon for our show, I guess.
Oh no, no. Rumor that Greg was in England to meet Balogun. Yes, and he actually went to the Sergeants game as well. So he's making all the stops right now. So,
the center back for Norwich, U.S. guy. What's his name?
For who?
Norwich.
Oh, John Tompkinson.
Yeah, didn't he get minutes?
No, but he was on the bench.
Who am I thinking of? Tomlinson?
No, it's Tompkinson.
I'm thinking of somebody. There's somebody else that got time
this week.
I'm not gonna go back looking through my feed, but somebody else got time
in the Premier League.
Well, I don't know if it's Premier League.
Wasn't Premier League, trust me. So no. Hi Connor. Yeah.
What's Green's teammate's name?
Tillman.
No, it wasn't Tillman. Shit. Never mind. Fuck it. We're gonna drop it. I don't know.
Well, I'll be able to tell you in the next show, which will come up tomorrow, which will be a review of all the play this week.
How was it?
This midweek. But I have no fucking clue what you're talking about. Anyhow, make sure you like.
Clearly, neither do I, Derek. Neither do I.
But it was good that Tompkinson's making the bench on occasion for Norwich City. He has yet to really play yet, but that's okay. I'm glad that I know that somehow. All right. So make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight with Pete and Filippo, who I want to thank. If you haven't gone to Tactical Manager or 11 Yanks, make sure you like their stuff or subscribe to their pages. They're great guys. Our little alliance with them and Sam will continue along with FIFA America. We're all going to continue to work together in this whole independent market, indie market, soccer media thing. We've got to stick together because if we don't, they'll try chewing us apart one at a time. But now that we're all together, it's a little harder for them to get rid of us one at a time, which they were trying to do for a little while. Not us.
Apes together.
Not us. They weren't trying to get rid of us. They've already heard of us before, and they're not worried about us.
How they get rid of us?
Yeah.
I think if anybody's going to get rid of us, it's us.
That's absolutely correct. We might just get rid of ourselves by opening our mouths.
We've canceled ourselves.
Yeah, a little more Hope Solo talk, and we're out. All right, we'll see you next time, guys. Peace out. Cheers.
Do it again. Whoop. Fuck. and like it. That's way too many likes. I got a comment on a channel. Fuck. Oh. Yeah. That should probably do. That should probably do. That should probably do.
That hurt. More verticality.